Wednesday. What's up, everybody? Wednesday morning. Hope you guys are having a great day. Welcome to today's edition of the Daily Market Commentary. I'm your host, Chuck Fulkerson. We're going to take a look at our major markets for today, looking for breakouts and reversals from an educational perspective. We had some interesting moves yesterday as we had the Senate confirmation hearings for the Fed chairman, and he really talked about the fact that we might have some more Fed intervention. So the markets came down early in the day, hit an area of demand, then rallied back up. So it was kind of a day where there's a fair amount of motion. And so what I want to do is analyze some of that motion and take a look at it for today. Do me a favor, question of the day, comment down below. What does the Fed movements do to your trading? Do Fed announcements change the way that you trade? Does it make you think a little bit differently? Type it in the comment section down below. I'd love to hear what you have to say. All right, let's go ahead and look at the S&P first. So some of the lines you'll see on here from yesterday's live trade room. And in our live trade room yesterday, which you can feel free to join our live trade rooms, go to tradersarmy.com and become a premium member. We'd love to have you join us. We were looking at this 15-minute area of demand. Now, the reason we looked at this 15-minute area of demand is pretty simple. It was a drop base, very strong rally, pretty nice pivot. And so yesterday, the market did come down pretty hard into that level, but we did get a pretty nice reversal out of that zone. Now, if you missed the entry into this zone, when we came back up into this level, we got a bit of basing to set up for a breakout long. So you had really two possible entries yesterday, either the reversal right down in here or the breakout long. Now, both of which have already moved away, but both of which worked out to be pretty good trades from yesterday's live trade room. So now what am I looking at for today? Well, we're sitting below another opportunity for a breakout. And that would be above this 47.18, above that high. Now, sometimes what I like to do is look for traps above the Globex high. But in this case, I don't really have any quality areas of supply over to my left to worry about. You've got a little bit of this wick over wick zone here, but there's multiple wicks here that have retested that area, so it doesn't really scare me away. And you could even drop that a little bit if you're a bit more aggressive and go right about here where you've got one touch, two touch, and we're basing in front of the level. So that is an invitation to enter a long position on the ES. Now, on a daily chart, we'll talk about this as a potential swing trade. We talked on our Sunday night session about the fact that, with this kind of a reversal, this could be an opportunity to swing trade the S&P and stay in some of these positions for a couple of days if it does continue its rally, and it does appear that that would be the case. In the NASDAQ, we had two levels of demand below us. The first one we cut through. The second one we didn't quite make it through. So the NASDAQ didn't give us as clean of an entry as the S&P did yesterday. We do have a good supply level here up above us, and so a little bit of a trap does exist on a breakout above here. Now that still gives you room. You're still looking at a pretty nice day if you just take the breakout and run it up to here. So there is still room to roam for an intraday opportunity from 15,900 up to 16,019. I think there's a pretty decent room to run. I don't know that this area up there, looking at the 4-hour chart, if we get above 15.9, then we will have put in a higher swing high. I don't know that that's going to be a great demand supply area that I'm willing to go short, especially if we base in front of that level. But I do like the breakout to the upside above that area there, playing into that trap. The Russell 2000, we did get a breakout above this line, but we didn't get quality basing or any true reason to enter the breakout above 2184. And so looking at it, I don't really see as many clean entries on the Russell as I do on some of the other markets. You do have a little reversal area. As I go down some of these levels, there's a couple of different levels that are wick over wick areas that are untouched and untested. My eyes first went to this area right here, and that's probably the one I should stick to when you're looking at a reversal. I'm reconsidering based upon these other wick over wicks below. But looking at here to the left, I see this area of prior resistance. Oftentimes, old resistance acts as new support, and 2180 could be a decent reversal point. The Dow Jones doesn't really give us as clear of a picture for an entry, and so I'm really not going to add anything in the Dow. Looking at our commodity, our energies and metals, crude oil, we did get our breakout above this 80.47. Unfortunately, we didn't get basing to give us an entry. And so while, yes, that breakout occurred, it did not give me the basing necessary for me to get long and to join in that trend. So I actually looked to take the retest of that line or a retest back into the origin of that move, which is right down in here. Unfortunately, I didn't get a retest of that line yet either. I think that retest could still exist today, so I'm not deleting that breakout line because we could get a retest and test that breakout line for a reversal to head back up. So that's what I would look at in here. When I'm looking at this from a supply standpoint, we are closing in on that high that we had at 85. 90 is still the big number that we're kind of looking at for crude oil's high. We've not quite made it back there yet, but I don't have any clean supply above me to stop price from rallying. The last clean supply was this area in here on the daily chart, and we came down a bit, but now we've come through there. Next is gold, and our 4-hour chart of gold is, we had a double top and then broke below, telling us, hey, time to look at shorts. And then as it rallied up into a clean short, we came close to it, moved away. That, by definition, that's going to make this a better confirmation entry. But we didn't get, even if you got in, you got a fairly quick stop out. And then moved to the above supply level and started to get a better move away. Now, the above supply level was clearly cleaner as it was a drop-based drop below a pivot high. But in reality, neither one of those levels were very effective for entries, and they weren't ideal. So at this point, I'm not going to add anything to gold. I'm going to hold off on gold and not really add anything to this chart. So, looking at crude oil and gold, I don't have a whole lot in there that I wanted to add. We had talked about ags, soybeans. We had a demand level in soy that we hit a couple of times and then it bounced away, and now we're sitting above it for a potential breakdown below this 1380. So that one's still in play. Corn is just kind of hovering above a potential area of demand, but it's not a great area of demand just due to the basing we're getting in front of the level. And wheat did not make the demand area, and it's rallying up. So my word of advice on all of these is just wait till they give you more definitive levels, and none of them are giving me very great definitive levels for me to lean on. Bonds and currencies, our 10-year note. I think our 10-year note, we are seeing a little bit of strength. I think while the Fed chairman is going through his talking points, a little bit of a bounce yesterday, not a humongous one. And I think your better opportunities are going to be to take a retest, and the retest, might be back, even if we get a rally for the next couple of days, back to about 12.9 or 129, excuse me. Then you would look for a reversal for prices to continue to head back down. I think that makes the most sense in that one. The euro, looking at our 4-hour chart, is just a snooze fest. Move along here, people. Nothing to see. That's what I think about this, right? It's a snooze fest of sideways price action. The Canadian dollar does continue to rally higher and higher as we got above the breakout trade, got to the next area of supply, and blew right through that like a knife through butter. So with that being said, I'm going to remove all of these lower levels and simply just look at 4-hour trend, clearly still up. I've got some bigger picture supply coming up, but it doesn't mean it's going to stop price. So unfortunately, I don't have really any super clean demand entries to re-engage this move higher. I guess this would be probably the best one. This one that very just recently happened. Um, on a 15 minute, this area down here is actually much better. That would be the ideal level, I think, on a 15-minute chart. And I don't like this area on a 15 because we dropped, base rallied, and then retested right through here. So that's sometimes why it's good to zoom into a smaller time frame to see about an entry. And in that case, that one really changed my mind by kind of what it looked like. The New Zealand dollar, we had rallied up into this confirmation area. We didn't trade halfway into the level until here recently, and now we've moved away. Now, if you took this short because we rallied into that zone, first of all, you're probably a night owl because you were awake to take the trade as it came back out. But second of all, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, we're 6 candles into the trade, and it's not really moved our way. So if you're in this position, take your stop, move it to break even, following our 6 candle rule. If you're not in the trade, I don't know that I would get in it now. In reality, on a 4-hour chart, it's tough sledding to trade that thing anyway. Great British Pound. So looking at the Great British Pound, the Great British Pound is continuing its march higher. We're seeing higher swing highs, higher swing highs, higher swing highs, but our momentum is waning just a smidge. And remember, a lot of this is stemmed off the weakness from the dollar, but these particular currencies are continuing to ratchet higher. Looking at this on the daily chart, looks a lot like the Canadian dollar. No clean super supply to lean on at the moment, and so I would want to catch a pullback to a quality long area, and I don't really have a good demand zone to really jump in on. This area here is not too bad, and the reason I like this is because we rallied up, dropped back, rallied way up, and then dropped back on this candle, and then rallied up from there. So that long upper wick does give me the picture of a drop base rally inside of this candlestick. Japanese yen, we came down, hit demand, got a little rally away. At that point, we traded to the bottom of that demand zone. So now that demand zone needs to be removed because we traded to the bottom of it. And it becomes a potential for a breakout because I've got 2 touches. So look for basing right at that level for a breakout trade. And then the Australian dollar price came into our 1-hour supply and then 6 candles later went nowhere. So telling you, get out, get out, get out. And I would look above here for a potential breakout to the upside. Now, there's a 15-minute supply area up above us there that I do need to take into account, a little drop-based drop. But there could be enough, depending on where our pivot is, where this occurs, to get long. Last, I want to take a look at our crypto futures, Bitcoin and Ethereum. So Bitcoin did find a little bit of basing. We have put in a bit of basing here in Bitcoin. Over the last few days, has built a bit of a basing pattern. We talked about a potential breakout above these highs, but I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. I'm 25 candles into the move, and it's still not done anything. But we are definitely forming a base. There's definitely whole round number support there at about 40,000. So as we are creating that whole round number support, now I start to look to see, are we putting in higher swing lows? And yes, indeed we are. So that means that this becomes a confirmation entry on the long, or excuse me, on the short. Still valid, but a confirmation entry is really what it has to become. Same thing with Ethereum. A little bit of basing that we're putting in, although I really, really, really like this area of supply should we come back up to this region. But it needs to still be an area that is considered a confirmation trade. So those are the levels that I'm looking at for today in all of our major markets. If you have any questions, as always, send us an email, support@tradersarmy.com. Till tomorrow, everybody, I'll talk to you soon. See ya. Hey, thanks for joining us. If you like what we do, please make sure you hit that subscribe button. It's the only way the computers know that you're actually alive and really care. And go to tradersarmy.com today to learn a bit more. And if you want to see some of our other videos, click here in the box.